Hello, my name is Philip Murray. I'm here to tell you guys about Islam and the Jihad. I have inquired very deeply into the religion of Islam, studying both the Quran and the Hadith. I have also studied other world religions, including Buddhism, Hinduism, and Shintoism, and also every other damn ism that has ever existed on this earth. And I cannot help but conclude that the only violent religion on this earth is Islam. Islam is currently taking over Europe. That's right, what we see right in front of us is an Islamic invasion of Europe. That is why I am supporting, and I exhort all of you to as well support, the Nazi AfD party in Germany. They are our last hope. I am more than willing to ally myself with Nazis, homosexuals, pedophiles, zoophiliacs, necrophiliacs, atheists, communists, lesbians, dykes, butch dykes, Satanists, feminists, radical feminists, moderate feminists, Jehovah's Witnesses, Hitler, and even with Satan himself to fight against the hordes of radical jihad. Islam is here to kill all of the gays. That is why Islam wants to conquer the world, specifically to kill all gay people. Muslims want to invade America, impose Sharia, and kill every card-carrying LGBT faggot that walks in this country. Regardless of the fact that the greatest of all the Islamic empires, the Ottoman Empire, was filled with homosexuals, I am here to warn you that Islam is coming into America for no other good damn reason than to kill all homosexuals. All of the homosexuals that are raping and molesting US soldiers, raping and molesting your children, be it in the churches, be it in the Boy Scouts, or any other institution which they have infiltrated. Islam is here to kill all of them without mercy or quarter. This is why we must be filled with enthusiasm and alacrity to go against the hordes of radical Muslims. That was my impersonation of the typical mainstream counter-jihadist. And although it was comedic, it was done to illustrate a point. And the point is that the counter-jihad movement, from its very inception, has been being used to advance the agenda of atheism, eugenics, social Darwinism, and just blatant Nazism. And we are seeing the reality of this manifest itself more and more every single day, as the days go by, as the weeks go by, as the months go by, as the years go by. We see this reality becoming clearer and more conspicuous. The problem with the counter-jihad movement is that it is absent of any Christian identity. It has no Christianity. It says that whoever wants to fight against Islam, we will join them. Be it a Satanist, be it a sodomite, be it a devil worshiper, a Nazi, a National Socialist, it doesn't matter, we will unite with you. And so the whole counter-jihad movement is being used as a vehicle by which to advance anti-human belief systems. And I have seen this, and I've noticed this, I've been observing this from the beginning. And it's just been growing and growing and growing. And it's very serious. It's very real. And we're seeing this in Europe. And the birth of the counter-jihad movement, and let me just explain this to you guys just for a moment here. The birth of the counter-jihad movement was September the 11th. September the 11th occurred, and the counter-jihad movement was birthed. It was spawned. So people were writing books against Islam. All of a sudden, overnight, people became experts on the Islamic religion. And then you had all these atheists come and homosexuals come. And they began to use Islam to advance their own agendas. Oh, the Muslims are anti-gay. We should be pro-gay. Oh, the Muslims hate atheism. We should be pro-atheist. Or if we didn't have any religion, we wouldn't have 9/11. We wouldn't have Islamic terrorism. So they were using Islam as the face when they were portraying their enemy. The face of their propaganda. The face of their propaganda to pursue their own objectives, their atheistic, anti-Christian objectives. And I've been seeing this from the beginning. When my father first started out, they began to say, oh, you should share a platform with an anti-jihadist homosexual. My dad said, no, I'm not going to be a part of that. My dad saw it from the beginning. And it's been growing. And it's been causing a lot of problems. And so the problem with the counter-jihad movement that I see is not that they fight against Islam. Islam is an antichrist. Islam is an enemy. That is undisputable. No doubt. You can't deny that. The problem with the counter-jihad movement is that it sees the deaths of human beings as worthy of discussion only if the deaths are caused by Muslims. That is within the central problem of the counter-jihad movement. For example, you had 9/11. It was done by Muslims. You had the Malaysian airline crash done by Muslims. Understandable. And so it's undisputable that the majority of these plane hijackings have been done by Muslims. Undisputable. Not going to argue about that there. But remember what happened last year. You had the German bus plane. Remember, or I think it was called the Airbus. But you had this German plane that was hijacked by its pilot. And the pilot crashed it into the Alps. All of us, including myself, were assuming that it was done by a Muslim pilot. The pilot converted to Islam, whatever. But when it was discovered that the pilot was a homosexual atheist, all of these counter-jihad people, hush, hush, they didn't want to talk about it. I continued to report on it. Why? Because I'm here to go against all evil. I'm not here just to talk about one evil. Christ didn't come to solely destroy Islam. Christ came to destroy all the works of the devil, as St. John tells us. So we should be going against all evil. But the counter-jihad movement, it only cares about a massacre if it's done by muzzies, if it's done by those sand people. This is how we know that the counter-jihad movement has an agenda. And the agenda is not really fighting against Islam. The agenda is not to defend Western civilization. Believe me, because if they were really for Western civilization, they would be for advancing Christianity. But they're not. They have an agenda, and that is to use Islam as... to take Islam and to portray it as the enemy, and then to portray themselves, to portray their agenda as the solution. Muslims kill gays, which there's a lot of horse crap behind that type of narrative, but nonetheless, it is a narrative. So they say, Muslims kill gays, oh, be pro-homosexual. Or Muslims hate atheists, be for atheism. Or Muslims hate white people, oh, we should be identitarian now. We should start subscribing to social Darwinist belief systems. This is the problem. And societies are controlled by narratives. Republicans bad, Democrats good, Republicans good, Democrats bad, etc., etc., etc. They are ruled by narratives. The Catholic Church butchered millions of people in the Inquisition. Doesn't matter how full of crap that statement is, people believe it. And this is how certain religious organizations, certain religious entities manipulate and influence their subscribers. So people are ruled by narratives. And what they eventually did was they took the narrative and they reversed it. I'll give you an example. For years, we were told that the homosexuals are anti-Israel, anti-Christian, but they love Islam. And for the most part, for a time, this was more or less the case. Can't argue with that. Somebody, I guess, somebody conveyed a meeting. They had a meeting somewhere. I don't know. But somebody thought of the idea of taking, or a group of people thought of an idea of taking a bunch of homosexuals and say, here's, Republicans, conservatives, you always say that gays hate Israel and they hate Christianity, but they love Islam. Well, here's a number of homosexuals who are pro-Israel, they love the West, and they hate Islam. So you guys are wrong. This contradicts your narrative. And so conservatives, many of them, began to conform to this new narrative. And the anti-Islam narrative, the anti-Islam people who were promoting this theme, was central to this strategy. Because the Muslims are terrorists, they're evil, they're here to rape your women, they're going to take over Europe, etc., etc. America is going to become a Sharia state. So they took this theme They took this strategic theme and they said, well, the only solution is, and they began to present the solutions. And that's what we see going on in Germany right now. And that's the whole point of this video. I want to focus on Germany because in Germany you have a lot of Muslims and the government brought them all in. They brought in all these refugees. And so the refugees are causing all these problems, and now you have people within the German government presenting the solution. So these elites took these refugees to piss people off and to manipulate the people to accept their solution. And their solution now is National Socialism, Nazism, identitarianism, social Darwinism, eugenics. And I'm going to show you guys some examples as to how major elites within the German government are now promoting Nazistic ideas as solutions towards the Islamic problem. So the taboo in Germany against Nazism is beginning to die out. And this is just one story that is a sign of this. And the headline says, Schäuble says German post-Nazi immunity to populists is waning. German Finance Minister Wolfgang Schäuble said the spread of populist movements to Germany suggests that the country's rejection of nationalism following the Nazi era is showing cracks. I really thought we wouldn't see this happen in Germany, Schäuble said in a speech in Berlin on Wednesday. I thought that our Nazi legacy had the one advantage that we're immune to this kind of thing. We're not completely immune anymore. And he's actually referring to the growing popularity for the AfD, the Alternative for Deutschland party in Germany. It is currently the third most powerful party in Germany, and it's growing. And as it grows, the other two establishment parties in Germany, the Christian Democrats and the German Democrats, the popularity of those two parties are declining. They're declining very quickly. So this is actually an evidence for a growing favor, a collective favor, towards National Socialism, eugenics, social Darwinism, because the AfD, the Alternative for Deutschland party, is a eugenist, racialist party. And it also shows that the taboo in regards to the Holocaust and in regards to Nazism is, in fact, dying out. And this actually reminds me of what a teacher once told me. She was a very, very liberal teacher in my sophomore year. Her name was Miss Schaller, and I think she was German herself, and she taught American history. And I remember she told us that in Germany they teach on the Holocaust pretty much in every grade of education. So when you begin in kindergarten all the way onwards, they're teaching you about the Holocaust. And so the youths in Germany have been saturated so much, they have been told so much about the Holocaust that they're actually getting tired of hearing about it. And she even said that if you talk to the German youth about the Holocaust, they will start rolling their eyes. They will get agitated because they're so sick of hearing it. So teaching so much on the Holocaust, it looks like it's actually backfiring because a lot of Germans are being more and more favorable toward the AfD. They're being more favorable toward racialism in general because you're now seeing racialism being expressed in not just in the AfD, not just in the Alternative for Deutschland party. You're seeing it being expressed in the German Democrats. You're seeing it being expressed in the Christian Democrats, Merkel's party. So you're seeing it. You're seeing politics in Germany becoming closer and closer, or really returning more and more towards its Nazi past, towards Nazi philosophy and ideology. And so the whole thing with the Holocaust, the whole stigma surrounding it is falling apart because they see Islam, they see the Muslims, and they say nothing's worse than Islam. Not even Nazism is worse than Islam, so at least the eugenists will protect us. At least the Nazis will get rid of the problem, if you know what I mean. So here's a story that came out yesterday. And it's about how a high-ranking official of Merkel's party, the Christian Democratic Union, used directly a Nazi term when describing the refugee crisis in her country. And the headline says, Merkel party MP under fire for using Nazi propaganda term. A member of Angela Merkel's conservative CDU party is in hot water after tweeting over the weekend a Nazi propaganda term in her criticism of the country's refugee policies. German Bundestag Representative Bettina Kudla has since deleted a tweet in which she said, Merkel denies it, CDU leader Tauber dreams about it, the Umwälzung of Germany has already begun. There is a need for action. Now that term, Umwälzung, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. German is a really funny language to listen to. It's basically the mother language for English. English is simply a Germanic language that has just been saturated with French and Latin. So German is an interesting language to hear, and it's always interesting as to how the words are pronounced. Like Bettina Kudla, I think that's how you pronounce it. At least that sounds German enough. But the term Umwälzung, that is directly a Nazi term. That is a term that originates directly from the National Socialists. Why would a high-ranking member for a center-right party that is supposedly pro-refugee, pro-immigration, be using a Nazi term? Well, for one, let's find out what the term signifies. So it says here in the article, the term Umwälzung was used by Nazis to mean ethnic transformation. It referred to the assimilation of German people who had forgotten about their language and culture, and was also used to describe the re-Germanization of ethnic Germans in lands conquered by the Nazi regime. The term has since been used by members of the far-right scene to describe their fears of immigrant populations taking over the German country and culture as their population grows. Kudla had also tweeted in August, on the German parliament building, it states, to the German people. There is a difference between citizenship and belonging to a people. You see, this is racialism. And this actually goes back to what I have said before. And as you see here, she says there is a difference between citizenship and belonging to a people. And this actually goes back to the difference between the American philosophy and the European philosophy. This is why the alt-right philosophy is thriving a lot more in Europe than it is in the US. Because in America, there is a philosophy within its very essence, within the very essence of being American. And the philosophy is that if you're born in the US, if you are a citizen of the US, you are an American. Doesn't matter if you're black, if you're Chinese, if you're white, you are an American. It even says this in our penny. It says pluribus unum, from many become one. So it's within the essence of American culture, within American philosophy, that race does not necessarily mean citizen. Now, in Europe, in specifically Germany, because we're talking about Germany here, just because you're born in Germany doesn't make you German. So let's say if you're black and you're born in Germany, well, you're kind of German, but you're not really fully German. So this is really interesting. You have a member of Merkel's party now using Nazi terms and using Nazi manners of talk. Now, why is this happening? What does she mean? How is she applying the term Umwälzung? Well, basically what she's saying is that Germany right now is going through a de-Germanization. And so the German people need to find their language. They need to find their culture. They need to go to this identitarian perspective. And right now the Germans are losing their language. They're losing their culture. So she is using it as would the right-wingers, the alt-right types would use it. Germans are losing their identity. They are losing their language, their culture, because of the refugees. And I don't believe that the German government brought in these refugees because it was compassionate. I really believe that the German government brought in these refugees to really facilitate the resurgence of Nazism. It knew that the people would react negatively toward the refugees, and so it brought them in to anger them so much that they would accept totalitarianism and that they would recourse back to Nazism. Now, this same lady, Kudla, she was also an MP who rejected a legislative recognition of the Armenian genocide. She was against the idea of Germany recognizing, legislatively recognizing the fact that Turkey butchered millions of Christians. And it says here, German MP explains why she voted no to Armenian genocide bill. The only German lawmaker who voted no to a resolution recognizing the World War I era killings of Ottoman Armenians as genocide has said it is not the duty of the Bundestag to vote on historical events that took place in other countries. It's unbelievable. And Germany was an ally with Turkey, lady. Germany was an ally with Turkey when the Turks were butchering millions of Christians. And now all of a sudden, oh, that's not our problem. Even though we were allies with the Germans, it doesn't really matter. Who really cares? Not our responsibility. Turkey's still our friend. And it was Germany who made a deal with Turkey to bring in the refugees. Germany made a deal with Turkey to inundate Europe with all these refugees. And with the refugees, through the chaos that the refugees would bring, they would break down Europe into accepting totalitarianism. You see this in Greece. You see this going on in Germany. Because the refugees are so bad, let's go and accept Nazism. It's all part of a plan. Don't give me this crap that the Germans did it out of compassion. The Germans did it because they want to revive Nazism. And why would she say no to recognizing the Armenian genocide? Well, because she herself wants genocide. She herself wants to bring back Nazism. Why do you think she would use a Nazi term, Umwukung? Why do you think she would do that? A term that was originated by the SS. Because she herself wants genocide. Why would Turkey want all these refugees going into Europe? Because Turkey also wants to fragment Europe, destroy the union that Europe has, and push the Europeans into accepting totalitarianism. Because what would happen if Germany accepts totalitarianism? What would happen if Germany goes back to Nazism? Germany would still ally with Turkey, and they would recruit Muslims and make Muslim divisions, just like they did during the Second World War. So this is a very calculative strategy, a very calculative plan. You have the Christian Democratic Union, the CDU, saying, let's bring in the refugees. Now all of a sudden Merkel is saying, oh, no, that was a mistake. And now you have this woman saying, oh, we're going through the Umwukung. We're losing our language and our culture. It's unbelievable, but it's amazing how weaved together this plan is. It really is. You know, 9/11 happens. Okay, let's invade Iraq. Let's take out Saddam Hussein. And by taking out Saddam Hussein, let's leave all these Hummers and all this military technology in Iraq. Germany sends weapons into Iraq supposedly for the Kurds. The weapons end up in the hands of Muslim terrorists. They destroy the Levant. They really just tear the Levant to pieces. They really ruined it. And they devastate the land. All these refugees want to come into Europe. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan to bring totalitarianism back. And if you don't believe me, just look at this story. Now, because of the refugees, because of the terrorist attacks done by Muslims in Germany, terrorist attacks supposedly done by ISIS, the German government is now approving that German soldiers, German members of the Bundeswehr, patrol the streets. And this hasn't happened since Hitler, since the Third Reich. And it says here, German military police to team up amid fears of ISIS attack. Germany is preparing to train troops to be deployed within its borders for the first time since World War II amid fears of terrorist attacks. The country's armed forces will hold joint drills with police early next year, officials confirmed. Authorities stress that counterterrorism measures will primarily remain the responsibility of police. However, the potential for large-scale attacks have made the use of German military assets conceivable, even probable, according to Lieutenant General Martin Schelles, the Bundeswehr's chief of Joint Support Services. plans to involve soldiers in counterterrorism operations, and the suggestion troops could also be used to beef up security in public places have proved controversial in a country only 7 decades removed from totalitarian rule that's still grappling with guilt from the Nazi era. A 2012 constitutional court ruling paved the way for the deployment of the Bundeswehr on German streets in the aftermath of an attack. Until then, Germany's constitution had allowed for domestic military missions only under special circumstances, such as natural disaster relief. The restrictive legal framework was instituted as a result of Nazi leader Adolf Hitler's abuse of state powers. Well, now all that is just going away, and they are reinstituting this whole system of putting soldiers on the streets. And it's all because of the refugee crisis. It's the utilization of the refugee crisis as a justification for putting soldiers on German streets, something that has not happened ever since Adolf Hitler. What is the reason? The reason is to really condition and to desensitize the German people to this way of life, the life of having soldiers on the streets and really having no problem with it. And I think this is going to continue on, and eventually it's going to evolve, it's going to escalate to death squads. And when that happens, I think the majority of the German people will say, it's for a good reason, it's for our own security. And you may start disputing this. You may start arguing with me, saying things like, oh, Theodore, the German people are so nice. They're not going to resort to death squads. They're not going to go back to racialism or social Darwinism or Nazism or anything like that. Well, let me show you guys some music videos. And these music videos are done by neo-Nazis in Germany. And you may think, well, these are just fringe groups. They're not that big. Well, let's think of it this way. If you look at the videos, they have hundreds of thousands of views. They have a lot of views. Now, for a country that has supposedly repented from Nazism, that's pretty disturbing. And let's add to this the fact that the third largest political party in Germany right now is one that is led by a guy by the name of Bjorn Rock. And Bjorn Rock is a Nazi. Bjorn Rock is a racialist and a eugenist. And the whole party of the AfD is filled with Nazi sympathizers and people who subscribe to Nazi ideology. When you put these facts together, it starts becoming obvious that this is a problem that deserves our attention. So I'm going to show you guys some of these music videos. And you're going to see just how popular and also just how disturbing these songs are. Alright everyone, so here is a music video for a song done by a band called Stahlgewitter. And they are actually a very popular neo-Nazi band from Germany. And here they make a song, and the video and the song are about the refugee problems. And you will notice when you see the video, they will mention the Jews, they will mention how Germany should no longer feel any sort of remorse about the Holocaust. And there's one thing that I would like to point out before playing this, and that is that central to the video is the refugee crisis. Again, you have these Nazis using the refugee crisis as a way and really as a pretense to advance racialism and National Socialism. So here is the video.
Soll ich dir was über tolerante Völker sagen und dann trümmern ihre Kultur liegt? Sie begehren das Gift als Toleranz. Das macht dich schwach und geisteskrank. Du schreist auf voller Empörung, weil das deine Selbstzerstörung gegen ein Virus, der dich ständig nennt und deine Abwehrkräfte in dir selbst. Es ist die Religion der Gleichheit. Einen Geister und du erlegst erneut den falschen Meister. Ohne Stolz und ohne Glück kriegst du gegen den Blöde. Du lässt zu, dass es geschieht. Deine Seele besetzt das Gebiet. Dieser Kampf wird der ewige Schuld.
And this is the point right here. He shows in the video a Jew crying about the Holocaust, which is of course understandable. And in the subtitles, which is translating the lyrics say, "The sacrament of everlasting guilt, but you obey with angelic patience." And it's amazing how absolutely evil these people are. I mean, if your nation butchered millions of people, burned them in the ovens, you just can't get away with it. You just can't say, well, that was 70 years ago, so who cares? It doesn't work that way. And if you really believe that there should be no remorse, there should be absolutely no sort of confession or anything like that, then it's just evil. And they are using this notion of, well, it was 70 years ago, get over it, who cares? They're using it to justify racialism. And look what he says subsequently. Look what he says right after this. He says, you comply with whatever they impose on you, but in spite of that, they'll never forgive you. And so really what he's saying is a lot of the problems in Germany are there because the government is obeying the Jews, blaming the Jews on the problems of Germany. So if Nazism has a resurgence in Germany and racialism and eugenics come back, and you have death squads and massacres and genocide, it's not going to be just the Muslims. It's going to be the Jews, it's going to be the Christians, and they're simply using the Muslims as a platform on which they can advance this Nazistic agenda. So a lot of people listening to them will say, well, the Muslims are a problem, so I'll join them and I'll ally with them, so who really cares if they're Nazis, etc., etc. And look at the views of these videos, 154,570 views, and then you look at the comments and you will see a lot of people just praising this video, praising Nazism, praising genocide. 88 from Serbia, no more brother wars, love Europe, hate EU, Europe for Europeans. And of course, when it says 88, I think he's saying it's a reference to the 1488 slogan that a lot of Nazis like to use. Great song from Hungary, my favorite video from you so far. Verwijse Europa, grus au der Slovake. I think he's saying that he's from Slovakia and he loves this video, something like that. Hail from Germany. Sieg Heil from Bulgaria. It's just praising genocide, praising Nazism. It's scary stuff. And you would think in a country like Europe, you would think in a continent like, in a country like Germany, in a continent like Europe, a continent that has gone through so many wars, 30 Years' War, First World War, Second World War, the Boer War, all these wars, you would think by now they would get the picture that propaganda like this doesn't lead to anything good. It only leads to bloodshed. But no, people just don't learn. They want to go back to tyranny. They want to go back to despotism and chaos. So then you look at this video here. This is another video done by the same band, Stahlgewitter. And this is a song in praise of the Waffen-SS. So this video has 134,195 views. And there was another version of the video made, and the reason why I'm going to play for you guys this particular version is because it has English subtitles. And in this one you will see and you will read how they praise the Waffen-SS division. And the noise of this music, I mean, it sounds so diabolical. It's so demonic. Listen, the Nazis of old, the original Nazis of the 20th century, they would not have even listened to this garbage. They wouldn't even listen to this garbage. They wouldn't. So it tells you something that the Nazis of today, I think, are going to be far more brutal and sadistic than the Nazis of old. It's not going to be as systematic, because with the Nazis of old, it was systematic. They put people in gas chambers. They killed them very systematically. I'm not trying to belittle the suffering, so don't interpret it that way. But what I'm saying is that it was systematic. The Nazis of today are going to be more blood and guts, carnage, viciousness. It's going to be like the movie The Purge. Go watch the Purge films, and you'll see what I mean. It's going to be just mass chaos. There'll be some systematic elements to it, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be more like The Purge. More chaotic, more hysterical, more fragmented, and a lot more sadistic. So glory and honor for the SS Waffen. Oh, there we go. The SS. See, willing to die for Germany. All this stuff. This is Nazi jihad. Promoting genocide, Nazi jihad, holy war, the whole thing. And the fact that so many people are listening to this crap tells you that something greatly evil and sinister is arising. See, now notice, Poland is covered up. Why? Because they want to conquer Poland. And till this day, there is conflict. There is tension between Germany and Poland. They really do hate each other, and especially the Germans really hate Poland. And during the 30 Years' War, which is a very important war to study, people think that you should just study the Second World War. No, you should also study the First World War, because the Second World War is simply a continuation of the First World War. But you should also study the 30 Years' War. In the 30 Years' War, you will find out that the Germans were trying to conquer Poland. They actually worked with the Ottoman Empire to conquer Poland. Now here's an interesting thought. Germany today is working with Turkey to bring in all the refugees into Europe. They worked with Turkey to flood Europe with all the refugees. Poland does not want the refugees. Why? Because Poland, the Polish government, does not want the societal manipulation that will result in the bringing of the refugees. You brought in all the refugees into Germany. What did you have? Societal manipulation, people wanting to have recourse towards totalitarianism. You would have the same thing in Poland. And the Poles don't want it. It's a Catholic society. They do not want this crap. And Germany is pushing this crazy immigration strategy, this crazy immigration plan into Poland. They want to enforce it on the Poles. They also want to enforce on Poland euthanasia, abortion, homosexuality, all these evils. And in the 30 Years' War, Germany worked with Turkey to invade Poland. So they're working with Turkey today to divide Poland, to break Poland down, to fragment and bring factionalism to the country. And just like back in the past, they're doing the same right now, and they try to do the same thing back in the past. They helped Turkey invade Poland. So nothing's really changed. And you see the Germans today, they want to take Poland. So you guys get the idea. This is a video praising the SS Waffen. Now here is another video. This one is by a different band. It's called Triari, and the name of the song is called Europa. Now listen to this one. Notice how the video begins with a statue of this male, very muscular, very Hellenistic looking statue. And what is this about? It's about praise and adoration of the male body, this pagan ideal of the perfect male physique. And it really interconnects with paganism and homosexuality, which is exactly what the Nazis wanted to advance, and it's exactly what the Nazis today want to advance. Again, the Jews are demonized. The video is very well done, and the Jews are demonized. It's talking about retaking Europe for National Socialism. All Nazism, all for genocide. Spartans, paganism, Europe is divine, personality cult, imperial religion, worship of the sun, all there. Again, they're using the refugee crisis as a way to really upsurge their cause. They're saying, you see, the refugees are here, they're causing problems, and they are causing problems. See, there's a scene in the movie The Exorcist that I really like. It's where the older priest tells Father Karras, the younger priest, that Satan will try to trick us, and he will use psychology. He will use psychology, and he will mix lies with the truth. This is so realistic. Look at this picture. You see, it shows you the reality. You know, it shows you the flag of, I think this is Sweden, the flag of Sweden, and it has the Jewish star. Again, it's attacking the Jews. But what is it using to really further justify its obvious and blatant Nazism and its obvious anti-Semitism? It's using the reality of the refugee problem. You see these Muslims, they're causing problems. That's truth. But then there's the lie. The lie is that, well, it's race. It's not so much religion that they're attacking. It's really race. They're making this about race. And recently there was a high official for the Christian Democrats in Bavaria. And he said that the worst thing is a Senegalese altar-serving soccer player living in Germany, and we can't get rid of him. What's that about? He didn't attack a Muslim. He attacked a Catholic African. So they're going to use Islam to simply jumpstart their plan. Well, we're here to attack the Muslims. Oh, okay. And then they receive tremendous amounts of support because a lot of people, in fact, I think most people know that Islam is a problem. I mean, when you have Bill Maher coming out saying that Islam is a problem, the whole era of liberals defending Islam is pretty much over. And whatever remnant of liberals are defending Islam, they're very much insignificant. So they're garnering all this support. They're conveying all this support, attracting all this support from people. Why? Because they're attacking Islam, and it is true that Islam is a problem. But then they mix it with the lie. The lie is racialism. The lie is that people are racially inferior. The lie is that if you're white, you are superior. And that leads to genocide. It leads to eugenics. But for some reason, most people don't want to see it. See, praising Hitler. And of course, it takes the problem of homosexuality, which is a reality. Problem of homosexuality, but it's blaming decadence on the Jews. It's saying the reason why Europe is decadent is because of the Jews. Again, it's fostering up anti-Semitism, fomenting anti-Semitism. And then you have Thor here. This is, of course, paganism. So you guys get the idea, and I'm not going to play the whole video because it's just going to take way too much time, but if you guys want to see the whole video, you can just type in Terraria Europa, you'll get it. And to be honest, I mean, the video is very effective. It's very, very upbeat. It has a very empowering tune to it. So it's very effective propaganda. I'll give them that. Here's another video. This one is by a band called Bots. And it's pretty much the same thing as I've showed you guys before. Has almost 250,000 views. Again, it signifies the popularity of National Socialism in Europe. And this one is not so much rock, it's more folkish. But again, praising the Nazis. And here's the creepy thing is that this is Nazi propaganda. The fact that you have Nazi propaganda being played on YouTube and it's becoming very popular, what's going on? You're seeing Nazi propaganda right before your eyes. You know, German television doesn't need to broadcast Nazi propaganda for it to be effective or for us to be disturbed by it or worried about it. This is very deserving of our attention. Um, it's really interesting. Like, see, we think that for Nazism to come back, there needs to be Nazi propaganda on German television, but you're already seeing it on the internet. You see, back in the 20th century, they didn't have internet, they didn't have YouTube to utilize in order to propagate their beliefs and their propaganda videos. Now they have YouTube, and they can do it through the internet, and they can actually probably get a lot more of a larger audience with YouTube. How did parties like the AfD rise in popularity in Germany? It didn't really use government entities so much as it used the internet. The AfD utilized the internet to garner and gather support, and it was very effective. So it doesn't really matter if Germany right now is not using Nazi propaganda. The Germans are already using Nazi propaganda. It's going on right now before your eyes, and everyone is acting like it's no big deal. You have these videos praising genocide, praising Nazism. And you guys get the idea of this video. I mean, it's the same thing. It's garbage, SS, we're so cool, we're coming back, kill the Jews, kill the commies. Here's another one. This one is just blatantly genocidal. It's called Pestnats, and it's done by this band called Absurd. And this is, again, blatantly genocidal. And Absurd is a neo-Nazi band. And I think in the earlier years of the band, they were actually responsible for murdering a 15-year-old boy. But now they're back, because when the murder was done, the guy who killed the 15-year-old, he was considered underage, so they let him go. So now they're back, and they're making Nazi propaganda. Now, what is amazing is that, look, these videos have 250,000 views, 500,000 views, close to 500,000 views. My videos were banned from YouTube. You believe that? My videos were banned, but yet YouTube is allowing Nazi videos to be viewed on their network, to be viewed by multitudes of people, to become very popular, to inculcate its evil ideas. YouTube is not getting rid of it. Why? I think YouTube is being utilized by elites. I think YouTube wants these ideas to be spread around, to be taught, to influence people. I think that YouTube is being used to accelerate World War III. But just watch this video and you'll see what I'm talking about. Absolutely genocidal. It shows this Nazi from a scene from the film Schindler's List, and he's shooting a Jewish woman in the head. They're acting like it's great, and you look at the comments. I mean, you see the comments. Why use the footage from a Jew cuddler movie? Because this effer is a Jew shown boy. Go get your shine, box Jew cuddler. I mean, it's really evil. Awesome band. The movie is Hollywood propaganda. And of course, they're arguing in German. Heil from Finland, 1488. It says, the Nazis gassed 66 gazillion Jews in wooden gas chambers, never forgot Goyim. All this anti-Semitic stuff, a lot of it is in German. It's just disturbing. Disturbing. And the fact that these videos can garner so many views makes it even more disturbing. And, I'm not going to play the whole thing for you. It'll just drive you crazy. It's absolutely diabolical music. But you see here, again, you see it just promoting genocide, death squads, and you see the comments on the internet from people. They're talking about, oh yeah, we should have death squads in Sweden, kill all the foreigners. That's absolutely creepy. Here's another video. This is done by a Swedish band called Saga. It's a pro-Nazi Swedish band. And this video has over 1 million views. I mean, it has 1,146,084 views. And Again, very popular video in praise of the Nazis. And the song is in English, so you can actually understand it.
He'd sit and he'd stare at the minarets on top of the towers.
See, again, notice the lyrics. Stare at the minarets on top of the towers. It's using the Islamic problem to advance Nazism. It's just like Orlando, everyone. The Sodomites were using the massacre in Orlando to promote homosexuality. It's the same thing, and these idiots can't see it. They're like, oh yeah, let's join the fags now. Let's go join Milo. And you have morons today coming out and saying, oh, let's join the Nazis, because at least they're going against Islam. Dumbasses.
For he was the beast.
I'm fast forwarding this crap.
And defeated the beast's only rival. They took the old roads that Napoleon had taken before. They fought as the forces of light against the darkness in a holy war.
So notice the lyrics. Holy war. They fought for the cause of the light. All this is religious terminology. It's religion. This is a religion, everyone. This is a new religion. Well, not really a new religion, but it's a new form of an old religion, which is Nazism. And they're using almost like Islamic terminology, holy war and all this. And I'm telling you, these people will ally with the Nazis in the future. They're using this space, this whole idea of fighting Islam as a front. Remember what my friend Andrew Biazad said. He went to this event. It was being organized by the American Renaissance, which is totally alt-right. And they admitted to him that this whole thing about fighting Islam is a front to cover up their designs for launching World War III against the Jews, against the Arabs, against the blacks, and all this. They talked about exterminating Semitic people and exterminating non-whites, the whole thing. It's all for Nazism. And they will ally with Muslims. They will ally with Muslims. They'll ally with white Muslims, Albanian Muslims. They will ally with Turkish Muslims because they will consider them honorary Aryans. Listen, the Nazis allied with Indians. The Nazis allied with Japanese people. They weren't white, but they called them honorary Aryans. So again, in the next stage of this, it's going to go beyond race. It's going to be, okay, well, you're an honorary Aryan. Well, you're basically white. Let's join together. That's what it's going to end up being. And so you'll praise them now because they're going against the Muslims, but believe me, you'll see the true face in the future, and many of you will regret this.
One day they were looking around at the sun shining on the cold flowers.
Anyway, I hate this style of music. It's just crap. So here's another song, and this is going to be the last one. This one is actually more modern. And this was a song that came out years ago in 2009 when I was still in high school. It's called Wir sind wir, which I think means We Are We by Paul van Dyk and Peter Hepner. And this one is not really Nazi. It's clothed with modern talk and terminology. It's a song that was marketed more for a general populace, but nonetheless, the song is about the resurgence of Germany. That we are Germans, we are we. It doesn't matter that we were defeated. We are coming back. We are arising. And if you look at the lyrics, which I have here, it says, day by day, year by year, when I walk through the streets, I see the ruins of this city. This is referencing the bombing of Berlin and Dresden. Arise to houses again, but many windows stay empty. For many, there's no return, etc., etc. And he says, we are ourselves. We stand here that could not yet be everything. No time to be sad. We are ourselves. We are we. We stand here. We are we. Wir sind wir. Wir sind wir. Has a great tune, but you'll see it's propaganda. And this is a very popular song. They're promoting this music to bring Germany back. That's what this is about. Nationalism and all that. You see the bombing of Germany.
Wenn ich durch diese Straßen gehe, sehe ich, wie die Ruinen dieser Stadt wieder zu Häusern auferstehen. Doch bleiben viele Fenster leer. Für viele gab es keine Wiederkehr. Und über das, was grad noch war, spricht man heute lieber gar nicht mehr. Doch ich frag mich, wer wir sind. Wir sind hier, wir stehen hier.
This is Germany defeating Hungary in the World Cup.
Schließlich leben wir ja noch. Wir sind hier, wir stehen hier. Das kann's doch nicht gewesen sein. Keine Zeit zum traurig sein. Wir sind wir stehen hier. Wir sind wir.
Anyway, you get the point. And don't let that clip of the soccer game fool you. For years, soccer has been being used to inflame patriotism and nationalism. And you look at the videos before it, it's promoting Nazism, it's promoting genocide, and the fact that these videos are very popular is very peremptory. It's worthy of our attention because it shows how seminal these videos are. It shows how influential these videos are ideologically. And it shows not just indifferentism towards the Holocaust, but just downright hatred for the Jews, for any talk on the Holocaust, downright denial of the Holocaust. So it's very, very evil. And these videos are being spread on the internet to inculcate Nazism, and it's really the internet is also being used to support the AfD, the Alternative for Germany party. Now, am I saying that the AfD is going to take power in Germany? Well, I'm not being emphatic about it. I'm saying that it's likely. But let's say the Christian Democratic Union remains in power. Let's say the German Democrats take power in Germany. The German Democrats are right now the most powerful party in Germany. They are the most, well, not the most powerful because they're not, Merkel's party is still ruling. But the German Democrats are the most popular party right now. So let's say they take power and not AfD. It really doesn't matter because all three of these parties are becoming racialist. The AfD is pretty much a racialist party, and the Christian Democratic Union and the German Democrats are on their way. They are actually showing themselves for the races that they are. They're revealing their own racialist ideas. The fact that you have this Bettina Kudla woman, who was a high-ranking official of Angela Merkel's party, using an SS term, Umvolkung, to describe Germany. It's very much worthy of our attention, and it should worry us. And the fact that you have the German Democrats being the most popular party right now, and the fact that they have a member, Thilo Sarrazin, who wrote a book on eugenics, shows us that all these parties are racialist. One of them is actually more honest than the other two. The AfD is just more honest. But still, German Democrats, Christian Democrats, really doesn't matter. They are all wanting Germany to become eugenist and Nazi. And I'm going to keep you guys up to date on what's happening in Germany because I want you guys to be vigilant. I want you guys to know what's happening, what is coming. We are not a website that just focuses on Islam. And the other thing that's disturbing is the fact that you have websites like Atlas Shrugs, you have Pamela Geller and Jihad Watch supporting the AfD. They're supporting Nazis. So the internet, the counter-jihad realm within the internet, is promoting the AfD. And by doing so, they are promoting Nazism, promoting a political Nazi party. So this is why I don't really associate myself with counter-jihad or counter-jihadism, because that whole movement from its very inception has been being utilized to promote eugenist agendas and all sorts of other perversities. So we are a website that is here to fight evil. So I'm going to keep you guys up to date on this. Stay tuned because there's going to be more information coming out. And that's it. That's today's episode. This is Theodore Shoebat. I hope you guys have enjoyed this message. I hope you guys have learned something from this message. You just heard some Theo, Logi. God bless, and God be with us.